Misery does not automatically generate discontent, nor is the intensity of discontent directly proportionate to the degree of misery. Discontent is likely to be highest when misery is bearable, when conditions have so improved that an ideal state seems almost within reach. It is not actual suffering, but the taste of better things which excites people to revolt. The intensity of discontent seems to be in inverse proportion to the distance from the objects fervently desired. This is true whether we move towards our goal or away from it. It is true both of those who have just come within sight of the promised land and of the disinherited who are still within sight of it. This quote shows that those who can see better things are likely to be more frustrated than those who can't even see these things. So basically, if you've just lost something, you're more likely to be frustrated than if you've never had it in the first place, or if you're just about to attain it. Our frustration is greater when we have much and want more than when we have nothing and want some. We are less dissatisfied when we lack many things than when we seem to lack but one thing. When we are currently suffering, our peddlers of hope make us focus on the future so that they can reconcile us with our lot in life. This is something we can see in all movements. If the person is suffering, the movement that they follow normally promises them a great future and doesn't focus on the present. But for those who are enjoying the present, their movements make them focus on the present, which is more enjoyable than the future, because the future might mean that they might lose their current advantageous status in life. Freedom provokes at least as much as it relieves frustration. Freedom of choice places the whole blame for failure on the shoulders of the individual, and as freedom encourages a multiplicity of attempts, it unavoidably multiplies failure and frustration. This is why freedom is great for us, but it also is very dangerous for us at the same time. For us to enjoy our freedom, we must have very strong minds. If we have weak minds, we are likely to fall into abrasive mass movements, which are likely to derail the whole society. We saw this with the Nazis. Many of the people who joined the Nazi regime were actually very normal people who you see on the street, but they were frustrated and they were free at that time, and they were tired of that freedom on their own. They wanted to give power to someone else so that they don't have that burden on themselves. I think you can see it when you're looking for a job, or maybe you're looking for a girlfriend. You're likely to fail many times, and this makes you even more frustrated. This is freedom. And when you're trying new things, that means you're going to fail more. And when you fail all of those times, that is going to breed frustration. And that frustration, you can either use it to become better and then better yourself and then better society. And other times, if your mind is not yet strong enough, you're likely to be taken by, let me say, get-rich-quick schemes or some gurus or extremist groups. Unless a man has the talents to make something of himself, freedom is an irksome burden. Of what avail is freedom to choose if the self be ineffectual? We join a mass movement to escape individual responsibility, or in the words of a young Nazi, to be free from freedom. Those Nazis, when they turned into the Nazi group, they were happy that they were free from their own freedom, because now they didn't have to think. As we saw before, thinking is a burden to those who have not yet achieved great minds. You need to have a certain level of thinking so that you're not a burden to yourself. And if you're a burden to yourself, you normally try to look for other people to cover up that burden, or you could be just taken up in a certain group and thinking, which might not be great for you. It was not sheer hypocrisy when the rank and file Nazis declared themselves not guilty of the enormities they had committed. They considered themselves cheated and maligned when made to shoulder the responsibility for obeying orders. Had they not joined the Nazi movement in order to be free from responsibility? Now here you see something which is very confusing. When those Nazis were captured, they felt it unfair that they were being blamed for what they did. Because the reason they joined the Nazi movement in the first place is that they wanted to be free from their own freedom. Now this is very confusing, but I hope this quote can illustrate what happens if we've not built strong characters to endure life. Those who see their lives as spoiled and wasted crave equality and fraternity more than they do freedom. If they clamor for freedom, it is but freedom to establish equality and uniformity. The passion for equality is partly a passion for anonymity, to be one thread of the many that makes up a tunic, one thread not distinguishable from the others, measure us against others and expose our inferiority. Here we can see that when we are free and we have the freedom to do things, we are likely to fail many times because we're trying out many things. But since we fail many times, we need to have strong characters to endure all of these things. Now, you need a strong character to enjoy good times, and you also need a strong character to endure bad times. The poor on the borderlines of starvation live purposeful lives. To be engaged in a desperate struggle for food and shelter is to be wholly free from a sense of futility. The goals are concrete and immediate. Every meal is a fulfillment. To go to sleep on a full stomach is a triumph, and every windfall a miracle. What need could they have for an inspiring super individual goal which would give meaning and dignity to their lives? This quote shows how oppressive governments can also use poverty to control people. If you make a person focused on what they just have to get next, they don't have time to think about the flaws in a system. And the other thing is that I see a lot of gurus out there teach personal self-reliance and everything. Self-reliance is really important, but for us to function, we need to be in a system that works. If you put the most self-reliant person in a broken system, their chances of failure are not as high as if they are in a great system. When freedom is real, equality is a passion of the masses. Where equality is real, freedom is the passion of a small minority. Equality without freedom creates a more stable social pattern than freedom without equality. Poverty, when coupled with creativeness, is usually free of frustration. This is true of the poor artisan skilled in his trade and of the poor writer, artist, and scientist in the full possession of creative powers. Nothing so bolsters our self-confidence and reconciles us with ourselves as the continuous ability to create, to see things grow, and to develop day in, day out. When we take action in life, it bolsters our self-confidence. Our self-confidence is something that we renew every day. And when we take action, even if we're poor, we are likely to not be as frustrated. So it seems that creativity is something that can restore our spirits. And what is better than having a great spirit in life? The superior individual, whether in politics, literature, science, commerce, or industry, plays a large role in shaping a nation, but so do individuals at the other extreme. The failures, the misfits, the outcasts, the criminals, and all of those that have lost their footing or have never had one in the ranks of respectable humanity. The game of history is usually played by the best and the worst over the heads of the majority in the middle. Why is this? Those at the top control the system because they have all the money and the power. Those at the bottom are the frustrated people. They're tired of the system. They don't like the present. And since they don't like the present, they're really ready to just take away all of it and just destroy everything and look for a new future. Those in the middle are those who we've already talked about. They spend most of their times working and they're really busy and they don't have time to think, or they just have no need to revolt because things are not so bad. So history is normally changed by those at the top and those at the bottom. Those at the bottom, of course, normally change through revolutions. Those at the top will change using laws and flow of money. The reason that inferior elements of a nation, and I don't like using the word inferior, but I just like to paraphrase the quotes. The reason that the inferior elements of a nation can exert a marked influence on its cause is that they are wholly without reverence towards the present. They see their lives and the present as spoiled beyond remedy, and they're ready to waste and wreck both. Their recklessness and their will to chaos and anarchy. We can see that people who are marginalized and oppressed are the most dangerous and at the same time very important people in society. But why are they dangerous? They're dangerous to the status quo because since they're the most frustrated, they can revolt and start a revolution. While they can also be dangerous if they misuse their capabilities, like we saw in Nazi Germany, then they can just cause chaos to the whole society. Even if you are not part of Germany, you can see that you are kind of affected by their actions. Also, people at the top have a lot of power. I mean, clearly, they control money, they control the laws, and they control the money flow, which affects everyone on the way down. The people in the middle normally do the work of the nation and then help the people at the top implement the change. The discarded and the rejected are often the raw material of a nation's future. The stone the builders reject becomes the cornerstone of a new world. A nation without frustrated people is orderly, decent, and peaceful and pleasant, but perhaps doesn't have the seed of things to come. Where people toil from sunrise to sunset for a bare living, they nurse no grievances and dream no dreams. One of the reasons for the unrebelliousness of the masses in North Korea is the excessive effort they are required to scrape together the means of a subsistence. These ideas are from Eric Hoffer's book called The Ordeal of Change. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm trying to relate it to the current world because it was written after World War II, so some things have changed. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. And these ideas are subject to various strings of thought, so if you think something of any of the quotes or something I said, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you.